Okay, so you know that moment. You leave a job, maybe you're retiring, maybe starting somewhere new, and boom, suddenly you've got this big question. What on earth do I do with my old 401k?
Absolutely. It hits everyone. And it feels like a huge decision because, well, it is. It can really shape your financial future down the line.
And it feels like navigating a maze sometimes, honestly.
It really can. The idea of rolling that 401k into an IRA, it's super popular, right? But like you said, there are so many nuances.
Right.
So our goal here in this deep dive is really to help you make an informed decision. Make sure you preserve those savings you worked so hard for, and maybe even boost their growth potential.
Yeah, think of this as us trying to cut through all that complexity, the
Yeah.
tax rules, the investments, the strategies.
Exactly. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding this really critical financial choice.
We'll unpack the what, the why, the how, and definitely flag some of those pitfalls to watch out for.
Because getting this right can save a lot of headaches and, frankly, a lot of money.
Totally. So let's jump right in. What exactly is a 401k rollover at its core?
Okay, so basically a 401k rollover is just moving the money from your old employer's plan, your 401k, into another qualified retirement account.
Usually an IRA, right?
Most often, yes,
Yeah.
an individual retirement account or IRA. And the key thing, the whole point, is that it's supposed to happen without taxes or penalties if you do it correctly.
Ah, okay. That if executed correctly part sounds important, like fine print.
It is. Because there are really two main ways to do it, and one path is definitely smoother.
I
simpler.
gotcha. What's the first one?
So the first, and generally the one we'd recommend, is the direct rollover. This is pretty straightforward. Your old 401k provider just sends the money directly to your new IRA company, your custodian.
So it never touches my hands.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
clean, it's efficient, and crucially, no taxes are withheld. It stays tax deferred, just moves from one account to the other. Seamless.
Okay, that sounds ideal. But there's another way, the indirect rollover.
Yes, the indirect rollover. And this one, well, it's like that financial tightrope walk you mentioned earlier. A lot more potential missteps.
Uh-oh. How does that work?
With an indirect rollover, the money is sent to you first. They cut you a check.
Okay.
And then you have this really critical ticking clock, a 60-day deadline to deposit those funds into an IRA.
60 days. That sounds like enough time, but what if life happens?
Exactly. If you miss that window, even by one day, the IRS treats the whole amount as if you just took it out of withdrawal.
Oh, no. So taxes.
Immediate ordinary income taxes on the whole amount,
Right.
and potentially a 10% early withdrawal penalty on top if you're under 59 and a half. It could be a real financial landmine if you're not careful.
Wow. Okay, but wait. There's also something about withholding taxes even if I intend to roll it over, right? That sounds confusing.
It is confusing. It trips a lot of people up.
Yeah.
Even if you swear you're going to roll it over within 60 days, if you do an indirect rollover, your old employer is required by the IRS to withhold 20% for taxes.
20%.
It's like a mandatory prepayment of taxes just in case you don't complete the rollover. So let's say you have $100,000 in your 401k. They send you a check for only $80,000.
Okay.
Now, to complete the rollover tax-free and avoid taxes on that withheld $20,000, you have to deposit the full $100,000 into the new IRA within 60 days.
Wait, so I have to come up with that missing $20,000 from my own pocket?
Exactly. You have to find $20,000 from your savings or somewhere else to add to the $80,000 check you received just to make the rollover whole and tax-free.
Hmm.
If you only deposit the $80K, that $20K they withheld is considered taxable income to you, plus maybe that penalty.
Man, that's a huge pitfall. Okay, so direct rollover definitely seems like the way to go if possible.
Almost always, yes. It avoids all that complexity.
All right, so we've covered the mechanics and the big warnings. Let's talk about why people do this. What are the big advantages of moving money into an IRA?
This is where it gets exciting for a lot of people. Probably the biggest aha moment is the sheer freedom you gain in investment choices.
How so? My 401k has funds.
It does, but usually it's a pretty limited menu, right? Maybe a dozen or 2 dozen mutual funds picked by your plan administrator.
Yeah, pretty much.
An IRA, though, it opens up a vast universe. You can often invest in individual stocks, bonds, ETFs, those exchange-traded funds, a much wider array of mutual funds, CDs, even things like REITs or commodities, depending on the IRA provider.
So it's like going from a set menu to like an all-you-can-eat buffet of investments.
That's a great analogy. It lets you really tailor your portfolio to your specific goals and risk tolerance, not just pick from a pre-selected list.
Okay, more choice. I like that. What about costs? I hear 401k fees can be high sometimes.
That's another huge potential advantage, potentially lower fees. Some employer plans, especially from smaller companies, can have high administrative costs, or use funds with hefty expense ratios.
And those little fees add up, right?
They absolutely do. Over decades, even a small difference in fees can mean tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars less in your retirement account. Many IRA providers offer very low-cost index funds, commission-free trading. It can really reduce that drag on your returns.
Makes sense. Now, what if I'm someone who's, jumped jobs a few times? I might have like 3 old 401ks just sitting out there.
Perfect scenario for an IRA rollover. It allows for consolidation and simplification. Instead of tracking 3 or 4 different accounts with different logins and statements, you can roll them all into a single IRA.
One account to rule them all.
Exactly. Makes it so much easier to see your whole retirement picture, rebalance your assets, and just generally manage things. Less clutter, less stress.
And it sounds like you're more in the driver's seat, too.
Definitely. That's about greater control. With an IRA, you decide the investment mix. You decide when and how to rebalance. You plan your withdrawal strategy later on. You're not just relying on the plan administrator's defaults or whatever changes they make to the plan. You have much more direct agency.
Okay, what about taking money out eventually in retirement? Any differences there?
Yeah, there can be some subtle differences. Both 401ks and IRAs have required minimum distributions, RMDs, starting at age 73. But IRAs sometimes offer a bit more flexibility in how you structure those withdrawals for tax planning purposes. It can give you more options later in life.
Okay, wow. Lots of strong reasons to consider rolling over. More choice, lower fees, simpler management, more control.
It can be very compelling for many people.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, sometimes keeping the money in the old 401k is actually the smarter play, right? This surprises people.
It absolutely does. And there are some very important reasons not to roll over sometimes. One of the biggest and a real game changer for some is the rule of 55.
Rule of 55. Okay, what's that?
If you leave your job, quit, get laid off, retire in the year you turn 55 or later, you can actually take penalty-free withdrawals from that specific 401k associated with that job.
Wait, penalty-free before 59 and a half?
Yes. Normally with an IRA, you'd have to wait until 59 and a half to avoid the 10% early withdrawal penalty unless you meet a few specific exceptions. But the 401k from the job you left at 55 or later gives you this special early access window.
That's huge if you're planning an early retirement, say between 55 and 59 and a half.
It's absolutely critical. Rolling that money into an IRA means you lose that rule of 55 access. So you really need to think about your timeline.
Wow. Okay. That's a big one. What else might make me want to keep my 401k?
Sometimes larger 401k plans offer access to institutional class investments. These are often very low-cost mutual funds that you simply can't buy as an individual retail investor in an IRA.
So like super cheap, exclusive funds.
Exactly. If your old plan has some really great low-fee institutional funds that fit your strategy, keeping at least that portion of your money in the 401k might make sense.
Interesting. What about protecting the money itself, like from lawsuits?
Good point. Federal law, specifically ERISA, generally provides very strong creditor protection for 401k assets. Protection for IRAs is still good, but it depends more on state law and might not be quite as ironclad in every situation.
So if you're in a profession with higher liability risk, maybe?
It could be a factor, yeah.
Yeah.
401k generally offers that top-tier federal protection. It's an important risk management consideration for some.
Okay, and then there's this really complex one you mentioned, NUA, net unrealized appreciation, especially with company stock.
Yes, NUA. This one is tricky, but potentially hugely valuable if you hold a lot of your employer's stock in your 401k, and it's gone up a lot in value.
Okay, break it down. Why is rolling it over potentially bad?
Normally, when you take money out of a traditional 401k or IRA, it's all taxed as ordinary income. But NUA is a special rule. If you take that appreciated company stock out of the 401k as stock, not cash, and move it to a regular brokerage account instead of rolling it into an IRA, the original cost basis is taxed as ordinary income right away. But all that growth, the net unrealized appreciation, isn't taxed until you sell the stock. And when you do sell it, it gets taxed at the lower long-term capital gains rate, not your higher ordinary income rate.
So potentially a much lower tax bill on all those gains.
Potentially huge savings, yes. But if you just roll that stock directly into an IRA, you lose the ability to use the NUA strategy forever. All future withdrawals from the IRA, including those gains, will be taxed as ordinary income.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely something you need to look into if you have company stock. Maybe talk to a pro.
Absolutely. NUA is complex, and you need to weigh the pros and cons carefully, ideally with a tax advisor.
All right, so navigating taxes seems absolutely paramount here. Let's walk through that maze a bit more.
For sure. The number one goal, usually, is avoiding an immediate taxable event you didn't intend. As we said, a clean, direct rollover keeps everything tax deferred. No current tax bill.
But the indirect rollover,
Yeah.
that's where the danger lies.
That's where you can easily stumble into taxes if you miss the 60-day deadline or mess up the 20% withholding replacement. That turns your rollover attempt into a taxable distribution.
Okay. And then there's the whole traditional versus Roth decision when you roll over. How does that work tax-wise?
Right. So if you roll a traditional 401k where your contributions were pre-tax into a traditional IRA, it's simple. No taxes due now, it stays pre-tax, and you pay income tax on withdrawals in retirement. Status quo, basically.
Makes sense. But what if I roll that traditional 401k to a Roth IRA?
That's different. That's called a Roth conversion because you're moving pre-tax money into an account where withdrawals will eventually be tax-free.
The tax man wants his cut now.
You got it. The entire amount you convert from the traditional 401k to the Roth IRA is added to your taxable income in the year you do the conversion.
So if I convert $100,000, I pay income tax on an extra $100,000 this year. Ouch.
It can be a big tax hit up front, yes. But the trade-off is that all future qualified withdrawals from that Roth IRA, including decades of potential growth, will be completely tax-free.
So it's a strategy. Pay tax now at potentially today's rates for tax-free income later.
Exactly. It makes sense for some people, maybe if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement, or you just really value tax diversification. But it's a conscious choice with an immediate cost.
Got it. What about rolling over a Roth 401k? Some plans have those now.
That's much simpler. If you roll a Roth 401k into a Roth IRA, it's generally tax-free. You already paid tax on the Roth 401k contributions when you made them.
So Roth to Roth is usually smooth sailing.
Usually, yes. Just remember, the earnings in the Roth IRA still need to meet the usual Roth rules to be tax-free later. Typically, the account needs to be open 5 years, and you need to be 59 and a half.
Okay. And what about those RMDs, the required minimum distributions? Does rolling over help me avoid those?
No, unfortunately, a rollover doesn't eliminate RMDs. You'll still generally need to start taking withdrawals from your traditional IRAs and 401ks starting at age 73.
But maybe it helps manage them?
It definitely can simplify things. If you have, say, 3 old 401ks and you roll them into one IRA, you only have to calculate and take one RMD from that single IRA later on instead of tracking 3 separate ones. So it simplifies compliance.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got the why not, the tax traps. Let's create a playbook. What are the practical steps for a smooth rollover?
Okay, step 1, evaluate your options. Really look at your current 401k. What are the fees? What are the investment choices like? Do you need that Rule of 55 protection? Compare it honestly with what a good IRA could offer.
Don't just assume rolling over is better. Do the homework.
Exactly. Step 2, choose your IRA type. Decide if you want to stick with tax-deferred using a traditional IRA or pay taxes now for tax-free future withdrawals with a Roth IRA conversion.
And then you need a place to put it, right?
Right. Step 3, select an IRA custodian. Shop around. Look for a reputable firm with low fees, the wide investment menu we talked about, good research tools, and solid customer service.
Don't just go with the first one you see an ad for.
Please don't. Step 4, and this is so important, request a direct rollover. Contact your old 401k administrator, your HR department, or the investment company managing the plan and fill out their paperwork, specifically requesting the funds be sent directly to your new IRA custodian.
Avoid getting that check sent to you if you can.
Avoid it. It bypasses the 60-day rule and the 20% withholding mess entirely.
Okay, money's moving. What's next?
Step 5, allocate your investments. Once the funds land in your new IRA, and don't let them just sit there in cash. Invest them according to your plan, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, your goals. Put the money to work.
Right. Don't forget the investing part of investing.
Exactly. And finally, step 6, confirm completion. Follow up. Make sure the full amount transferred correctly, that no taxes were mistakenly withheld if you did a direct rollover. Just double check everything looks right. It's your money.
Good checklist. Now let's hammer home those common mistakes again. What are the absolute don'ts?
Okay, number 1, if you do end up doing an indirect rollover, do not miss the 60-day window. Seriously. Set calendar alerts, check your mail, whatever it takes. Missing it means taxes and potentially penalties. It's a cliff edge.
Okay, critical deadline. What else?
Still on indirect rollovers. Don't forget about replacing that 20% withholding. If they send you 80% of your balance, you must come up with the other 20% from somewhere else to deposit the full 100% into the IRA. Forgetting this means that 20% becomes taxable.
That phantom $20,000 trap again.
It gets people all the time. Then, for those with company stock, don't roll over highly appreciated company stock without investigating NUA first. You could be leaving a massive tax break on the table. Talk to someone knowledgeable before you move that stock.
Got it. NUA check is crucial.
And finally, a more general one. Don't just look at headline fees. Dig into the details. Understand the expense ratios of the funds you're choosing in the IRA, any account maintenance fees, training costs. Make sure you're not just swapping one set of high fees for another.
Look under the hood, fee-wise. Okay. Any other sort of special situations people ask about?
Yeah, a couple come up. People often ask if they can consolidate multiple old 401ks. And the answer is yes, absolutely. You can roll several old plans into one new IRA. That's a major benefit.
Okay. Can you do, like, half and half? Roll some over but leave some?
Yes, that's called a partial rollover.
Yeah.
You might do this if, say, you want to keep some money in the 401k to maintain access to the Rule 55, or maybe keep access to a specific low-cost institutional fund, but you want to roll the rest over for more investment choice. That's definitely possible.
Interesting flexibility. And what about, I've heard of after-tax contributions in a 401k that aren't Roth. How do those work in a rollover?
Right, that's a bit niche but important. Some older plans allowed for after-tax contributions that were separate from Roth. If you have those, the good news is you can typically roll that specific after-tax money directly into a Roth IRA without paying any additional tax on it.
Oh, so a way to get money into a Roth tax-free.
On that specific portion, yes. The pre-tax money and the earnings in your 401k would still need to go to a traditional IRA or be converted and taxed. But isolating those after-tax contributions into a Roth IRA can be a nice little bonus if you have them.
Good to know. Okay, let's try and tie this all together. If we put the 401k and the IRA side by side now, based on everything we've discussed, what are the key comparison points for making that final decision?
Okay, quick rundown. Investment options. 401k is usually limited. IRA is typically very wide. Fees. 401k fees can vary a lot, might be high or low. IRA fees also vary, but you often have more control to find lower cost options.
What about access and protection?
Withdrawal rules. 401k might offer that rule of 55 for early access. IRA generally means waiting until 59.5 for penalty-free withdrawals. Creditor protection. 401k has strong federal protection. IRA protection depends more on your state's laws.
And loans, RMDs.
Loan option. Sometimes possible from a 401k, never allowed from an IRA. RMD rules. With a 401k, you might defer RMDs past 73 if you're still working for that specific employer. With an IRA, RMDs generally start at 73 regardless of work status.
That's a great summary. So, armed with all this, what are the key questions you, our listener, should be asking yourself right now?
Yeah, sit down and really think. 1, do I realistically think I might need access to this money before age 59.5? Is that rule of 55 relevant to my plans? 2, is my current 401k actually pretty good? Does it have really low fees and investment options I like?
Good points. What else?
3, how important is that federal level creditor protection versus state level for my specific situation? 4, would consolidating several old accounts into one IRA make my life significantly easier? And 5, am I considering a Roth conversion strategy either now or down the road, which might make moving to an IRA more appealing?
Those are killer questions. And if you're still unsure after thinking through those, or if things feel complicated like that NUA thing, when is it time to call in backup?
Look, if your situation feels complex, maybe you have that appreciated company stock or significant assets, or you're navigating tricky early retirement scenarios, or you're just uncertain about the tax implications, getting professional guidance is often money well spent.
Who should you talk to?
A fee-only financial advisor or a qualified tax professional. They can help you analyze your specific 401k versus IRA options, make sure you don't make costly tax mistakes with the rollover itself, help you set up the investments in the new IRA, and really evaluate those special situations like NUA. They bring that objective expertise.
So wrapping up, it seems clear that rolling a 401k into an IRA can be a really smart financial move. You get more control, maybe lower fees, definitely more investment choice.
Absolutely. But as we've hammered home, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all answer. The best choice truly hinges on your personal situation, your age, where you live, and what your long-term retirement picture looks like.
Right. Get it right, and it's a smooth, tax-free transfer that helps your savings grow.
Get it wrong, though, and you could face unnecessary taxes, penalties, or miss out on valuable benefits like NUA or early access. Careful planning is key. And sometimes, yeah, getting a second opinion from a pro can make all the difference in making sure that rollover strengthens, not weakens, your retirement plan.
So, a lot to think about there. As you reflect on everything we've covered in this deep dive, what's the one piece of information that most shifts how you think about your own retirement savings?